Hey guys, it's Chris here from Chris's Creative Life, and I design workshops that help you create beautiful projects from start to finish with easy to follow guides. And we're going to have some fun today. So it's a whole new year. Hey Lee. And Ava, I saw popped on too. So I last year did a perpetual calendar, and lots of times I use the months of the year to create them. So I'm just going to show you the few from last year, and I'm going to show you what I'm doing for March this year because I decided it's just time to create a whole new one. So, like I said, you can always see the ones that I did last year. They're all on a playlist on YouTube. It seems very dark in here today for some reason. Don't know why, because it's actually finally sunny. So I thought I would just really quickly show you the ones from last year. And then I'm going to start putting together really quickly the one from this year. And then remind me and I'll tell you I have an idea. So this was the one that I did for March last year. And like I said, I used lots of the months of the year and they came in super handy. They're still available. You can still get the months of the year. So this was the March one. I used a stencil, some texture paste, a little bit of sparkle. And it's funny because I pulled out sparkle again for today. And I'm assuming it has to do with the fact that there's the pot of gold during March. So this is really pretty, but this time we're going to go more with the Lucky Clover theme. These were some of the earlier ones from last year too that also featured the stamp of the month. So this was they're not the stamp of the month, months of the year. So this was the January one. It was really cute. It's a little shaker card and it's got the flower confetti for snow in there. Super cute. And then this was the February one. So I might go back and redo some of these, but I thought, well, let's just do a whole brand new one for March so you guys have lots of inspiration to pull from. So I grabbed a few things. Okay, so I forgot I had the SVG. So this is from Close to My Heart. It's an SVG, so you can adapt it for lots of different things. So I'm going to use that actually for my March perpetual calendar today. And then, okay, I'm going to tell you my idea. So while I was working on this, and really I just kind of pulled some things together. I'm going to go through what I've got here and explain to you. I think that next week I'm going to come back and I'm going to put together a layout with the same piece here, like the same SVG in a single page layout, like that maybe you could easily adapt to a double page so that I remember to take a few photographs specifically during the month of March, which I can hardly believe is next week already. Crazy. Just so I could have a little calendar representation of the month. So here we go. I have to remember to tell you about this. Okay, so I grabbed one of the blank backgrounds for the months of the year. And, okay, this is what I kind of want to do here. I have some 4-leaf clovers, of course, because they're lucky. Okay, so I have my Versamat here because I was using it earlier. But I'm going to take my very messy all-purpose mat. Okay, so these perpetual calendars are nice and thick. So you actually have quite a bit, they're very durable. So we can add some fun stuff on here. Yeah, so I think that on purpose this year, I just kind of want to take just a few photos that kind of represent the month was kind of my idea. Okay, so I grabbed some mustard seed because I was originally going to do it blue like the sky, but I think I'm going to save that for some of the warmer months, like the summer months, and maybe create more of a cloudy background in one of those months. So we're going with that whole gold theme today. So like I said, I grabbed mustard seed distress oxides and I just have my blending tool I've got my all-purpose mat down. I'm just going to tap off just a little bit so that I don't get like a crazy hard spot. So I'm just going to like lay the color down gently in the background, and we're going to put that SVG on top. So, and I think that when I do like that months of the year layout, it's going to be one that you could switch out the plate for where we're going to put March. You could switch out the months to kind of any month. So they have SVGs for every month of the year. So I'm just kind of laying down here a really pretty, just a little bit of yellow background. Okay, so then you can distress it if you want. I'm not going to. So if we added water, right, we get that reaction that we've done before. I'm just going to, though, I grabbed platinum stickles. So there's two different stickles that are kind of gold. There's like a real like gold, and then there's this platinum one. So I'm just going to squeeze out a little bit on the back on my all-purpose mat here. And I'm just going to spread it over my distress oxides, and we're going to see what happens. I didn't actually test it to see if it's going to react to the distress oxides, in which case I probably should have used a close to my heart color. Okay. So I was going to use like normal stickles, like in the jars, these ones. So I had originally thought about using this one, which is Solar Flare, but it's a little bit thick and I wanted to get through the project today, so, and not have to dry it. So I'm going to do this first, and this is thinner, right, because it's just like the regular stickles versus the and it's cool, it does actually react because there's liquid in the stickles. So I'll lift it up in a second. Because I'm putting it on with the palette knife, I'm almost kind of getting like when you spread stucco feeling in the background here. So I just wanted to kind of lay down a little bit of sparkle, but not like a crazy amount. So just like that. So I don't know if you guys can see the reaction happening, probably not, but I'm going to set this aside to dry now. So I've got, it is reacting a little bit with that mustard seed, but I might as well use up the end here. And I'm going past my mustard seed, so I'm still going to have a little bit of glitter that'll be dry when it's finished. Okay, so now I can move this out of the way so I don't end up with glitter all over myself. I'm just going to grab, though, a baby wipe and clean off that palette knife while it's still wet there. And I might even just really quickly. So the nice thing about this is it's going to dry way quicker than if we had used this, right? So the Stickers glitter gel is thicker, and I would have had to set, it would look super cool too because it's got like all the extra stuff in there. So there's like little stars in there and stuff like that. So that would have been good on here too. But like I said, I figured this is going to dry faster. Okay, just let me, now I'm all glittery. Okay, so then I took some fun things. So I cut out the March to fit on here. And here is the color combination that I picked. So I've got candy apple, I've got nectarine, I've got lemonade, and I've got lagoon. And then there's two clouds, and I did those linen. I just wanted them just a little bit like a dirty cloud almost. Then I have green apple, and I'm going to show you what I did here. So the green apple is going to go onto the holographic paper. And so I actually used the Oasis holographic paper, right? Because it's got just that little bit of green tinge to it, which will get played up on as soon as I put green apple on top of it, you'll be able to see it more. And then the March, I actually cut it out of the pearl paper. Sorry, I'm like dropping things behind me. So the pearl paper, it's white, but it's a little bit thicker. So when I ran it through my Cricut, right, you don't get that. Sometimes with white daisy, it can rip. So it's got just, and I know you won't be able to see this, but it's got just a nice little bit of that like shiny finish on it. Okay, so we're gonna put things together here. So I cleaned out the tips of my liquid glass this week. So if you're ever having a hard time, like if you have either the fine tip or you just have the tip that it comes with on your liquid glass and you're having a really hard time, I just took it off, I took it apart, and I threw it in a bowl of really hot water. And I just put like a little piece of saran wrap over top of the liquid glass while I was soaking it. And that kind of just cleans it all out. I try and like to do that every once in a while so that, because for sure I half the time forget to put my lid on, you know, all those things. The pearl paper is very lovely. And I thought, well, it's totally perfect for the title. So like I said, I've just got kind of the beginning ideas of like a spread for a single page. Okay, so this, you can see here, I did this darker green you see here with green apple. But I wanted my clovers to also be green apple. So I made sure that I wanted them two different colors because you can see how it overlaps on each other. So when I put this in Design Space, I knew that I would do the darker green, the front side, and then I wanted all my clovers, the lighter side of green apple. So I just made sure to flip them over before I cut them. So now there is not a huge difference between the front side of green apple and the back side. So the true versus the light, but there is a little bit of a difference. So, and then the other thing I wanted to say is I actually took these all apart and I kept the rainbow together and then I kept the March together. Because if you look here, this is quite small in relation to the month. And so I wanted my rainbow to be bigger across the back side. So don't forget, just because that's how you bring it in, it doesn't have to stay that way. Okay, so I'm going to actually, let's glue the rainbow together first. We'll let that dry for a second, and then I got to decide if I'm going to pop it up or not. So like I said, I manipulated all of the layers of the rainbow so that they would, it would be just a little bit bigger in the background. So now they just all like nestle on top of each other. And get smaller. So yes, if you're ever having a hard time and you want like a title or something on your Cricut that you want to be white, that the pearl paper cuts so beautifully. It's just a little bit thicker, so it just stands up quite nicely. Okay, so like I said, I've got candy apple, nectarine, lemonade, and then a lagoon. And this one's a little bit skinny, so I'm just going to use some glue on it. Okay, and then I think I'm going to grab some Okay, so this is what I'm thinking. This is almost dry, like it's crazy. My hands were sparkly to stir it off with, but because it's thin, it dries super quick, right? So that's the platinum stickles. And I could have also used the other option would be to use the goldenrod if you wanted more like the gold. But because I used the mustard seed on here, I thought that the platinum would be better. So I'm just gonna grab okay, I did the clouds linen and I just grabbed mink to distress them. I just want them to, because the linen is so light, I just kind of want to add a little bit of distressing just so that the leaves stand, leaves. It's not a leaf, it's a cloud. Just to give it an edge. So you're probably not going to be able to see very much of it, but when I'll take photos and then I'll post them. So, yes, like I said, I thought this time we're going to try going a little bit in advance. So I'm doing March before we're actually in March. So, and like I said, they're just the SVGs, so they're easy, right? So you can add it like on this perpetual calendar, you could add it on a scrapbook page, you could add it on a calendar, right? Like one of the flip calendars. Okay, so here is what I'm thinking. So I think we're going to add this flat on here, and then I might pop up the 4-leaf clovers, and I might add this, the March, once we get it all together. I might add some thin or thick or regular, 3D foam on it. I don't like to make the perpetual calendar too thick, right? Because the way it sits, you've got other months before it and after it. So it just sits on like a wood frame. So see, that's so pretty. Once you add that green apple on there, it just picks up that holographic paper so perfectly. Okay, so there are 4 clovers. These 3 are the same. Okay, so like I said, I flipped them over before I cut them so that the lighter side, and it's just, like I said, just a subtle difference. And you guys are never going to see the difference on camera. But it's just slightly. Green apple is one of the colors that there's not a big difference. Okay, so this is how this is going to go together. So like I said, I think I'm going to use thin 3D foam tape because I want just a little bit of dimension. So see, this is exactly how I end up needing to clean out my tips, because I get distracted with something else and then I forget to put my lid on. Okay, so let's just cut up some thin 3D foam here. Okay. And oh, the dots would have been perfect for this. They would have fit perfectly back there. Maybe I should just grab them. These are regular, but we're going to do that. So I absolutely loved doing this series last year. So I thought, well, why don't we see? I think that some of the months will probably, I'm assuming they're going to keep them. That was a great series of stamps. So I can't imagine that they would go places. And it was a super fun one, right? Because there was like a version for North America, and then there was like an Australian version, because obviously we have different seasons at the same time. So I thought that was really cool how they kind of made them match your country. There we go. Yes, I think we'll just use those. That's nice and quick. I will say the interesting thing is I feel like that Stickles made the mustard seed brighter. But it could totally just be my imagination, you guys. So yes, my plan for next week is we're going to do the second part of the layout with the Mixins paper, where I said I would come back and teach you the second half, because I had a plan and I had more photos for that layout. So I'm going to work on that this weekend, and then we'll do the single page for this, which you could easily turn into a double page if what I'm going to do works out in my head. So I was just playing around with the size earlier. Because I want the title, obviously, for the layout to be bigger. This rainbow is not big enough, so I need to play around with that a little bit yet to get the proportions correct. So, like I said, these just fit nicely into those little slots. Okay, so it's completely dry, and we just did that a few minutes ago, right? So here we go. So I've got my March and my rainbow, and thank goodness it fit, because I didn't actually test it before I came on. And then I've got two clouds. So I'm going to put my bigger cloud over here and my other cloud here, and then add that in like that. So that is my plan here. So we'll add this down first, and I kind of want it a little bit like off, like a rainbow. So I'm almost right at the top just because of the size that I made it. And I'm going to adhere these flat on here. It is cute, eh? And then just that, like that, is my idea. And then I just have to decide. Okay, so I am going to use thin 3D foam tape here, because I already have it cut too. So that's handy. And then I'm just trying to decide if maybe I should add a few gold sequins, because they're pretty flat. And you guys, I totally need the Perpetual calendar. I find it super handy for birthdays. So, and I gave one to my dad with everybody's birthday on it so that he can keep track, because he doesn't live close to us. So he has to mail everything. So he found it super handy to have like a perpetual calendar, right? So he can just flip it and then he always knows. So I love the holographic paper. So, and actually I think that that might have been the first time I cut that white pearl paper on the Cricut. And like I said, it's cut so beautifully. So I'm just making sure that the top of my M just connects with the cloud so that it doesn't look like it's like hanging up there in outer space. Okay, so I'm just gonna grab some gold sequins. Yep, I think we're just gonna add a few gold sequins on here and then we're gonna be done. So I always add sequins just with glue dots. So I have my little roll of glue dots here. My customers want to make this during the year. I've used the videos to help. Yeah, they are. They're all still there. And like I said, the stamp set is still available if you want to do that version. You could also do the same thing and just use the stamp to kind of add extra if you wanted. So I think I want the shiny ones, not the dull ones. So I'm just going to look for a few. Thanks, Wendy. A few little shiny sequins. And like I said, I'm not going to overload it because they all get put together. But I'm going to add 3 on for sure. So I'm just adding tapping the sequin down onto my glue dot, and then I'll add it onto the background. And I'm just picking a few different sizes. I think I'll do 1 big one and 2 small ones here. So you're using the SVGs too? Well, Lee, then I'm just gonna have to keep up with you, aren't I? So these are perfect for like doing with a group of customers because it's not a super huge project. Obviously, you just saw how long it took for me to put this one together. So there we go. So kind of simple, but it's actually like in real life, it's super pretty. So the only other thing I might do, so the one thing I did really like about the stamp sets, which, oh, here it is. I really liked how they all had the little border across the bottom, but maybe I should just add like a little strip of gold shimmer trim across the bottom. To kind of tie it together. Okay. So this is the end of this roll of shimmer trim. I was gonna maybe put it across the top and the bottom, but I don't think I have enough. And I'll have to dig out another package. I liked anchoring the bottom of the calendar. I don't know why, but I really found that just made a difference. So like lots of them, I used the border stamp on. So you could see here, I used the border stamp on. I loved doing this one. That was one of my favorites. Or even here, that's the border stamp, and that's just like a little thin line of stickles. I feel like it just kind of grounds it. So I don't have enough to go across the top, but maybe let's see if I have some more. Nope, not up here. Oh, I do. I'm at the end of like a whole bunch of rolls. Oh, look at that. It was just meant to be. So I think though, before I do the page next week, I'm gonna have to find some more gold shimmer trim. I think it's just downstairs, so. And if it it fit, it didn't go over the hole, but if you ever had to, you could always just repunch the hole so that it's not covered. Okay, guys. So there we go. March is ready to go. I got rid of the ends of 2 rolls of gold shimmer trim. That's always a good day. Okay, so here's what I used. So I used mustard seed distress oxide. I didn't distress it at all. I just added it softly on there. Then I added platinum stickles just with my palette knife on there. And like I said, it dried super quickly. Like nothing's coming off. My hands have glitter on them from before. And then I used the gold shimmer trim on the top and the bottom. The colors are Linen, Lagoon, Lemonade, Nectarine, Candy Apple. Then I used the white pearl paper, the Oasis holographic paper, and then green apple for the March. I added a few gold sequins, and there we go. But like I said, there is a playlist if you want to go back and watch. Let me just flip here. If you wanted to go back and watch the other ones that I did last year, there is a playlist on my YouTube channel that you can go back and watch. And I will take some photographs and add these onto my page in the next couple of days. So I think we are going to have some fun with this. Like I said, I really loved to do the series last year. So I think adding in the single page is going to be lots of fun. And then if you wanted, you could always add in if you do a single page, I'll talk about it next week, but you could add in the calendar on the other side so that you could remember like what happened that month instead of doing an accompanied page. But I'll talk about it next week when I get closer. Oh, you're very welcome. Well, talk to you later, guys. Have a great day.